what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's Friday. Y'all out there in the Rock With Me Nation. So you know Friday mean we Friday vibing. I'm your man D Real. Over there, that's Theo B with the energy. And this is Friday Vibing. And our guest is one Mr. Frederick Littles of Acre Comics. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
How's it going? How's it going?
Hey,
what's going on, Mr. Little? What's going on? You know what, Daryl? Before we get started, you know, you said with the energy and everything like that, and I just got to ask a question. Was I the only one old school Gen X baby boomer that felt some type of way when folks changed up the Running Man? Get your own dance or call it something different.
it wasn't you. It wasn't this. I was stopping youngins all up and down the block.
Get your own dance, man. Don't be renaming my stuff.
He was just joking. No, you're supposed to be dancing. I don't know how we got into it.
We just opened up the show. We opened up the show. That's how we did. We opened up the show.
See how it goes. You don't know how it gonna go. He out of nowhere. Blindsided. Okay. You, sir, have a comic book out.
Yes. Many.
Magnus Jakuta. Okay. First, why is Acre Comics?
Yep.
Please explain to me how you came up on that name and what it's all about and what y'all are doing.
So, Wise Acre represents a very, very wise man who happens to be my father. And so Pops and everything, he come up he's a comic head, and we talk quite a lot about just different comics, everything. His experiences and stuff coming up through life, how he read comics and stuff for his brothers and stuff, his cousins, just different stories and everything here and there. And so, you know, I told myself, you know, Dad is dropping a lot of nuggets, a lot of knowledge and everything. And, you know, we grew up on kind of like a little bit of a farm. And so we had a lot of land and everything too. And the name of everything came for pretty much was Wise was representing my father. And then the knowledge of pretty much cultivating from any space and everything, feudal ground for stories to come forth to be able to share with a community of people, which is Wise Acre. And so combining those two and everything, right? You know, every book I write and create, I always run it by my dad and let him read it. If he enjoys it, I know other people will enjoy it. If he hates it, it doesn't like everything, that book more likely will not get published, will not be seen anyone, right? He's my first reader and my first customer always. And so that's how we got the name. That's how all got started.
I like that, man. Actually, no, like it is an understatement. I love that. That's one of the things that we've talked about. Myself, Daryl, and I, the Rock With Me Nation, is that bridge, that gap between the black son and the black father in regards to comic book characters, being able to bond over that and what that signifies, because we see other folks have it and we see what it leads to, the possibilities and everything like that, whether they have their own podcast, whether you what you had a father son as artists over there in Marvel Comics and everything like that, Romita Jr. and everything like that, and you never know what we're capable of doing when we're able to bridge that gap with the father son, grandfather son, grandson type of thing, what we're capable of doing. So I'm loving that vibe, man. I love the fact that you and Dad got that thing going on. I love it. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it was a family affair. Even my biggest modest brother and everything, right? He was a comic kid. And he came up on Image. He was a huge Spun fan. And so he got me to
I had the first 100. I got the first 100 issues.
Between Spun and Milestone, I'm a huge Milestone hit everything too. So I love Dwayne McDuffie. He was like one of my heroes and stuff like that. So I researched, followed his work. You know, I tried to really get into his mind on how to write and create stories that really resonate with people, but also just be different, right? Where it's grounded to where people can be, it's relatable to your experiences and everything as well. So A lot of my stories, everything is delved deep into, mythology, African mythology. So that's where Magnus really came from. That's where it's rooted from. It came from a point of grief and pain. So when I lost my mom and everything, I went to a severe bout of depression. I didn't know how to handle grief, and so I just wrote, and wrote. And so out of that grief and everything, so came something beautiful. Two stories. One, a comer, which was about my daughters, and then Magnus, which was really about my mom, because she was really big into family, right? And so it was my legacy piece to her as a gift to the world to share our family with everyone. And so every character that you see in this story is a piece of my family that we're sharing.
Okay. I would be curious to know what member of your family General Stamos represented.
So General Stamos is my oldest brother. If you read issue number 1, everything right, he showed me what sacrifice meant at an early age. And so with him sacrificing everything for, just that their brotherly love, their brotherly relationship and everything, I felt like, General Stamos would be this character based off of him. And so with him being in the military, he joined the Air Force, early, after college and everything. I followed his footsteps, everything, way to join the Air Force also, right? And when I became chief, chief master sergeant and everything within the Air Force, I got promoted before he did, right? But he never faltered in that quest and everything to achieve that rank as well. And so he became a chief also. And so at the end of the day, like I said, through sacrifice and everything, I feel like General Stamos, and I knew his story beforehand, what was going to happen with him and everything too. He would be the best character, the best person that represents that character and everything. So there's going to be a lot more story to tell of General Stamos. I know people hate me if they read issue number 1, but
yeah. Why? Okay. All right. Now that I hear you say what you said, sacrifice makes sense. But what I'm thinking is, I don't want to give it away, but I wanted to see more.
Yeah, oftentimes we write a story and everything, right? No one dies. No one gets killed and everything, right? There has to be consequence somewhere, some type of pull to draw you into the story, everything itself, right? And I felt like I gave you the beginning, which if you saw the beginning of his story, everything, pretty much he was there in a very, very dramatic shot. And then at the end, you had this, if you felt like if you went to go watch Endgame, whatever happened, everything with Thanos and stuff like that, you had that moment with Stamos, like it was a quiet moment though. You was
one
like,
moment. That was one moment.
Yep. And so that was the pull and everything to where now you wanted to go read issue number 2. And so that's
exactly.
Exactly.
Yes. Because I'm like, okay, dude, hey, wait, you got to be more than this. This look like this in everything. Yeah, there's a 2 after this. Yeah. Quick question for you. Did you read Marvel Comics?
I did.
Okay. Did you read the official handbook of the Marvel Universe?
Yes.
Is that what the stuff in the back is? Was that the inspiration for that?
It is.
Okay, because that was very helpful. That was very, as far as like, because like, what people like to do now is like power scale and shit. You know what I mean? Oh, this person is this so strong and that strong, and so that gives us an idea, like if you ever crossed over with other characters, what the strength differences or similarities would be like. So thank you for being a official handbook of the Marvel Universe nerd.
Yeah, there's more. If you read the fact sheets and everything, right? I'm giving you nuggets to everything that happened beforehand, before the actual Magnus series. And so we're telling you things that happen on the planet Nulion, how Nulion everything got started, the different wars and the different battles, everything too, within those fact sheets. I believe in lore. And so I also believe in spin-offs and everything too, right? So I don't like to start all the way at the beginning. Most of the time, when I start everything, I start somewhat, in the middle, in a way, because I'm always setting up a prequel and everything to the story. If I go back to that part to where there'll be questions asked, everything, how did these individuals come to light? What started their journey and everything? And that question has been asked. So I'm writing those things and stuff. I'm asking myself those same questions and everything. So I felt like the best way to do it versus keeping people waiting and everything, right, was to share some form of facts on the different characters and everything, right? So I include those things and stuff in the book. So it doesn't matter if you get a digital copy or a physical book, those fact sheets will always be in every single issue of a character.
That's good. That's good to know. That's thorough. That's thorough bibliography, if you will. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. In the story. I don't want to give away too much, but I've done videos where I've covered the book, or at least the first 3 issues, and kind of give you like just a quick, this is what's going on with the book, enough to where you should be like, okay, I'm interested in it now. But is 5 going to end the story arc, or is it going to go on beyond that?
No, so there's an issue number 6 that completes the introductory arc of Magnus. So we introduced the entire family in issues 1 through 6. All of some of the major characters and everything too. Not all of the characters, but majority of the major ones that contain the story and everything. We separate 3 arcs, right? So you have the introductory arc, which is issues 1 through 6. Then you have the war, the rift, everything between the gods, which is issues, the Orishas and everything, which is issues 7 through 12. And then we cap off to where, 8 through 16, right? No, 13 through 16, everything will actually wrap everything up to where we keep open to something that's going to come out hopefully in the future. But there's an open question, everything, right, for the readers and stuff like that too. So we carefully plotted this for nearly 2.5 years of just scripting this story, me and Devin and everything. And one of the reasons why I brought in a co-writer was because I had blind spots, different biases and everything, right? And so I wanted to make sure that I would cover and get different opinions and everything too at the same time. Devin was really big into Thor, and I wanted that cosmic like, grand scale battles and everything too at the same time. And I wanted to influence everything, my types of stories and everything I love telling, and mix those 2 types of mythologies and everything, right? He wanted, the Greek mythologies and stuff and everything. I wanted the regional African mythologies and stuff, right? But we bridged both of those worlds to give you a very, not just a superhero based story, right? We wanted a little bit of drama. We wanted a little bit of action to the same time. We wanted also a grounded story from a young man who's coming up in life. This is if you don't know who Magnus represents, this is a father and son relationship. So Magnus is my son, and it's based off of me and his relationship, everything, right? His story in a way, and I share because early on in his life, everything, me being in the military, and then with me and his mom not together, everything too. He felt like I wasn't present or there, but I was. He just didn't see me because of work and everything, right? And I was always still in his life in some capacity and everything, to where I would still get my visitation, everything too. But that wasn't enough for him. And so as he got older, he came to understand. And so in his story, you see Magnus, who lives with his mom, coming through life and everything, never met his dad before, doesn't know that he has a sister, and then he's thrown into this whole entire world of just this mess, everything that happens to where it just turns the world upside down. And then with the course of this story and everything, right, he comes to bring that family together. They're united and everything, right? And he continued to learn something about each of those individuals. He even learned more about his mother too, on why she decided to do what she decided to do. And so that have a very, very dramatic effect on everything, emotional effect on everything, for the story and everything itself. And oftentimes when we see Magnus and his power set, he's coming into his powers. I didn't give him his powers right away. I have learned, you have to grow and learn before those things and stuff manifest. I'm a teacher, and so when I tell my students everything, you don't know everything. So if you wanted to just listen, take a step back and everything, and wanted to learn and gain that knowledge, you can be better than even myself, right? The teacher, at the end of the day, the student everything actually get, better than the teacher. And so that's why I kind of like, Magnus and stuff, I made sure that, he didn't have any powers from the onset. He was kind of like, a little bit of my static, where, static, he started manifesting his powers, but he didn't know what was happening, but he couldn't control them. Same thing for Magnus. Right. He cannot control his powers. And in retrospect, if you look at the future issues, everything in the story, you're going to see Magnus' fact sheet. In that fact sheet, you see that his powers and everything are dialed down a little bit. There's a reason why. He can't control them just yet. And it's at a point, my son had a very, very, I call him a hothead. He would get upset very, very easily, right? He would get angry. He couldn't control those emotions. Magnus is the same way. And with those emotions, that he would have outbursts that he cannot control. With those outbursts, they can become a weakness and everything for him in the future. So, like I said, there's a lot we're going to delve into going forth and everything in future issues and stuff. And even with some spin-offs and everything too, you're going to see, how things come into play.
We definitely ain't got that story. Yeah, that's definitely OG. Like we ain't got that story. Where can real quick, because like I said, we ain't got that story. That's deep. That's original for real. Where can people find this real quick? Those that are interested, those that you didn't hook them already. Like, no, I need to go get this right now. Where can they go get this at?
Yeah, so if you go to wiseacrecomics.com, you can purchase issues 1 through 5 digitally right now, right? But since I'm on vacation right now for the next 2 weeks, after May 13th, I'm going to drop issues 1, 2, and 3 physical back onto the store, so that way I can make sure I ship them out in time so I can get to you and everything. I hate having delays and people wait on books when I know they're available and everything too. So I know I was going on vacation for 2 weeks. I was like, you know what? I'll just take everything off of there for right now. But once I get back in, those physical copies will be up on the store for issues 1, 2, and 3. And then for, I think it's either May 19th, 22nd, something like that, right? Issue number 4 will be coming to comic book stores very, very soon. And July 5th, issue number 5 will be coming to stores after that. So
that's what I'm talking about.
And can you have your LCS order it?
Yeah, you can go to LCS and everything.
Okay,
if you want to
great question.
Stuff, you could definitely if they won't order your back issues, go to Wise Acre Comics. I guarantee you, if we don't sell out everything, we will have back issues and stuff for you for issues 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as I'm more actually interested in, like I was saying, we was talking for you before we went live, is the playing up the Orisha perspective of the stories, and just in general, like I was saying, you see it in bits and pieces here and there, but it's not as common as it is with like Greek and Norse and that kind of stuff. So like I am assuming, of course, that Magnus is a demigod.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's okay. I've been reading comics 50 years. I can dope a lot of stuff out, without even having it handed to me. But so it's one of the Orishas, one of the ones that's.
Yeah, if you actually I won't drop a certain issue and everything, but we placed the Easter egg. I put an Easter egg and everything in the actual book itself that represents some of the Orishas that's involved. I leave it at that because it's part of the story. And I'll also say, if you look at the name of the book, it's also part of the story. The name itself and everything has a lot of emphasis on the Orisha and everything itself. So, like I said, we planned it. When I created this series and everything, before I can get to that piece, and I'll tell you why I went down this path. So, as a young kid and everything, right, I was really afraid of death. I had a hard time grasping the concept of death. And so when one of my dad brothers and everything, my uncle, he passed away. We was going to get ready for his funeral and everything. I was in the room and I would land on a stack of pillows, just laying down. And for the first time, I felt death grip me and got a hold of me and would let go. And I spoke to my uncle. He spoke to me and everything and said it was going to be okay. It's okay to let go. He was at peace. And I just magically woke up and I had just sweat, just whole shirt, everything was just all wet, right? And I went running to my mom and she consoled me. She said it's going to be okay.
Oh, wow.
When my mom passed away, I had that same experience. When she died, I sat there right next to her bedside with my Apple Watch on her arm, watching her heartbeat tick down to where there was no longer a heartbeat there. And after she passed, I gave the nurse everything, the time of death. But when I went back into the room, I just saw a glow on my mom. I didn't see death. I saw a light. And so when the coroner everything came and took her and everything, her body and stuff, and she was going to pass, they was going to put her in the car and be able to drive off. I reached out to her and I feel like this connection still exists and everything that was there, that she would still be able to speak to everything to me, right? So on the plane ride back home to Arizona, I was, just sitting there with a napkin in front of me, and I drew a circle, and I wrote the name Magnus. How it came to me and everything, I just wrote the name Magnus in a circle. And then from there, I started actually plotting the entire story of Magnus on an airplane. On the drive back to the house and everything, my wife, she was like, is everything okay? I said, no, just say it quietly. This is me handling my grief. I boxed everybody off and just put up walls and everything. I didn't want to speak about it. And then she said, you got to release. You have to let go. And I finally let go, finally for the first time. Doing so at 3 o'clock in the morning, the rest of the story that came, and it was the Orisha. It was the African knowledge of the Lord and everything. And doing my research, it led me to Africa. And it led me to finding things and stuff about my mom's life and her heritage, everything, and her people. And I wanted to tell a parallel story of a young man, but also a parallel story to Orisha and everything too at the same time. And those Orisha stuff represents family members, my aunties, my uncles. And I feel like, a connective tissue and everything to them throughout the course of this story. It allowed me to grieve properly and be able to share the stories, everything I wanted to tell and share her life with people. And so coming through and researching everything in Orisha, I found a very, very powerful pull. And in the story of Magnus, you would get certain reflective points and everything to where he's going to go into, the different voids, to the spiritual voids, everything, to be able to speak directly to the Orisha. And they're going to be able to gift him those various powers through trials and tribulations of life. And that's how he actually gets powers and everything, right? He's going to receive blessings and stuff like that. And so, if you read the first issue, it was through the goddess Olakon who sent Stamos on his journey, this mission to go find Magnus at all costs, that initiated this process. And through Stamos actually unlocking and manifesting Magnus's power, that's because he completed his task that was charged by Olakon to make that happen.
Okay.
And so that's how Magnus received his first blessing through the goddess Olakon.
Okay. And then I noticed it was one he got into a fight and got busted up real bad, and and he got the blessings of another goddess to help him heal. So yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like that. Now I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk to you something about something outside of Wise Acre Comics, if you will. Now, comic book writers, comic book artists, who's your inspiration, or who inspired you, or who, you know what I'm saying, made you say I want to do this thing here?
Yeah, like I said, my main inspiration thing was Dwayne McDuffie. He was the GOAT to me. He the way his ability to tell stories, right, was just very unique. He had a twist with different words and stuff, everything too. He did a interview. I forgot who it was for, but he spoke at length and everything about his way of writing and how he got into really just digesting, literature and different words and stuff and wordsmith and everything too. And so he gave like a list of books and everything that people should always purchase everything, right? I made sure to go buy all these books and everything to add to my. And so I would go back and I would, before I actually start writing everything, right, I would just make sure that I read certain things, or I watch different TV shows. I'm an old school head to where I watch a lot of old school movies from the 80s, from the 70s, even from the 60s, everything too. That's where I get my inspiration, everything from different camera angles from the 80s movies, a lot of action sequences and stuff like that and everything too. I read a lot of milestone comic books. So I have, again, Icon, hardware, especially hardware, static, those books, everything were very much a lot of inspiration thing for me. And the same thing for my brother, put me on Spun. But then when it came from DC, it was John Stewart, the Green Lantern series. That really, really, gave me a focal point of, you have this black character and everything, and it was more to him than what you was looking at, pretty much. There was more of a story and everything to him. And I wanted to make sure that when I crafted these different characters and whatnot, the personality piece came through, a different voice came through. So no character was never the same. And so that you didn't have a static like reading everything in front of you. And so, that's why it takes me a very, very long time to push books out, because I'm my own worst critic and everything too, right? I put everything up against, if I was to get this book to Dwayne McDuffie, what would he say about it? How would he critique everything? And I'll go through every single line and say, he wouldn't say this, he wouldn't like this word, he wouldn't like this phrase. And then trying to balance the art and everything too. Art wise, I would tell you again, it was a lot of influence and everything from the milestone, just different artists and everything from that era and stuff like that. I have a
Dennis Cowan, Mark
Cowan,
Wright, Chris Cross.
Yes.
Who else drew during that time? It was a few of them. Arvell Jones. Yeah. Definitely.
Yes.
All the good black artists.
Yeah. They had a gritty like style that really, really, it really had a very good impactful influence, everything on the direction I wanted to take Wise Acre Comics. The first artist I had to work with, everything, Bruno Abdias. At the same time too, and I came up on X-Men in my teen years. X-Men was a heavy influence on the art style for Magnus. And with Bruno, it was me it took me about a year and a half to actually find Bruno. I went through a crap load of different artists and everything. I just didn't find the look that I was looking for from the aesthetic and everything I wanted for this story. And so the other thing too is, first impressions are lasting impressions. So the art has to jump off the page. And I feel like with everything, same thing with Lewis, the art jumps off the page at you and everything, and it just grabs you immensely across the board. But the biggest part too was they had to understand the African lore, the mythology, to get the Orisha the right way. And that was the hardest part, right? No one can get the hairstyle. So I was getting different references, everything for different African type of hair, and say, look, it's not straight. You know, we have to make it a certain way. It has to look the part and everything. And Bruno and Lewis have done a great job, really, really capturing that vibe. And so those, like I said, Duffy from a writing standpoint, everything was my main influence and stuff like that. There are a couple of other ones that's there, but it just depends on the type of story I'm telling. Like for the, if it's crisis, I'm gonna go with a Punisher esque type of tone that really really would grab you and everything too. That was one of my brothers, my older brother, and everything. That's another favorite cover and everything. He loved the Punisher, and so reading that story thing too, I was like, you know what, I can understand why. So it just depends on what genre, what tone I'm looking for, and everything. I would kind of adopt to those select few writers and stuff that I follow. Frank Miller's,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Frank Miller has a very gritty noir kind of style with everything he does.
He does.
Had the Dark Knight Returns, his run on Daredevil, Sin City, all of that. That's his whole stage is that gritty city stuff. So yeah. I like some Frank Miller.
You can get some with that. You can get some with that. You got me thinking. I'm like, if I didn't know any better, I swear, them Daredevil seasons we getting all of them. That's Frank Miller.
Yeah,
that's Frank Miller up and down.
A good chunk of it. Yeah.
You'll see that tone in Crisis Uncut. I get that a lot from a lot of folks and everything when they read that book. And they're like, man, is Frank Miller influencing you on this story? I said, if you love Daredevil, if you love the Punisher and everything, if you love Sin City, there are elements and stuff of Frank Miller and everything that you would see, the tone, everything, the vibe and stuff, influences and whatnot that you would see in those books.
So Pop Scars is a Sin City type of feel to it.
So Pop Scars, I'm just the publisher and everything for that book, right? Pop Scars is one of our newest releases, everything for Acre Comics. It's written by Pat O'Malley from Punch Publishing. Okay. Let me tell you, the reason why I love that book is just simply amazing. And I gravitated everything to it when I was at really, we did a comic convention out there in LA Comic Con. And then we did a joint convention, everything table wise with Pat O'Malley, Punch Publishing. I got a chance to, really digest and come to understand Pinky. And we had a cosplay and everything, Sammy, who cosplays Pinky and everything, right, for that story. But if you read that book, there is, again, a lot of pain within this individual that influences her actions and everything too, right? Mm-hmm. And she would see herself fulfilling those actions at the end of the story and everything too, right? I won't run it for everybody, but this book is a must read. It's one of my favorites. And the art style and everything is just spectacular. So I do a lot of collaboration and everything with Punch Publishing. Pat is a great writer, great creator and everything too. We're doing a collaboration right now on Velvet Vein, which is a story I wrote for issue number 1. He's going to have to write issue number 2. We'll come back together and write issue number 2 and issue number 3 together and everything, right? That one, he got me to pull off the shelf because, again, it's just taking a chance and opening your repertoire and everything up to different experiences and everything when it comes to storytelling. And I had a story that coming through the military, I had, individuals and everything that were, again, different genders, different backgrounds, different religions, different sexual orientations, everything across the board, right? And they're part of the community. And I told Pastor, hey, these are, 2 individuals and stuff that have a very, very powerful story to tell. And it's a not safe for work project and everything, right? He's like, well, how not safe for work? I said, it's definitely not safe for work. He like, we need that. I said, okay, all right. He said, because the thing about it was, he said, there's a lot of not safe for work projects and everything out there. They don't have a story to it. They don't tell a story. But this one is different because it has a story to it. You see this young lady who is on the verge of just throwing her life and everything away. She has nowhere else to go. She's falling on hard times. She's falling on drugs and everything. And she's going to look for an easy way out. And someone comes up to her and offer her a way out for her life. She gave it willingly. And in retrospect, she gave her a gift and everything too in return. The art of ink. And so now she becomes this tattooist and everything that has she has a power that this ink and everything feasts on people's souls, their sins, their griefs, their lusts, all these things, the 7 greatest sins and stuff in life. She's able to ink it out of them, and through it, she's feeding this vessel called Silk Mother, who draws her power and everything from these sins. But she won't let go, right? Her vessel and everything, she gave her that power. In return, she's tired of it, right? She was like, I didn't sign up for this, but yes, you did. And so this story and everything, we see this young lady and everything trying to find a way out of this pact that she made with this deity that is consuming darkness that feeds her souls. And so he was like, you got to take the spirit for it. The world needs to see things like this, right? And everything, because if not, you're not going to get the other things that you see across Kickstarter and other platforms and everything too. So I'm very big on storytelling. And so that's one of the things I want to, everything we publish has to have the who, the what, the how, and the why. It has to make sense in a way to where it resonates with people, and people are able to take a step back and everything and be able to, aha, got it. I want more.
I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of times what we'll get when we read comments and everything like that is people wanting a result, wanting a solution without it making sense. And I'm like, you're not understanding. You can't get from A to Z when it comes to storytelling and cheat the story.
No.
The story has to make sense. You might not like the outcome, but it still got to make sense. One way or the other, it don't matter. It's got to make sense. And I think that's one of the things, I'm just going to throw it out there real quick. One of the things that we looked at, a story arc that was about 15 issues, I'm not going to mention no names, that did not make any sense. From a writing standpoint, it was like, you got an F if you'd have handed this in. Ain't nobody passing this. Ain't nobody I asked my daughter. So I can appreciate what you said. It's got to make sense. It's got to make sense.
Yeah. I think a lot of times what writers do is they experiment without first thinking about, because you got to think about it, especially if it's an established character. You got to think about, how is what I'm going to do impact the fans of this character? You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm just going to take this character and I'm gonna tear them apart, but not build them back up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, case in point, with some of them Frank Miller stories, we got Daredevil at a point where he was broke, homeless, and everybody knew his identity. But you know what I'm saying? But he managed to come back from that. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, it was probable how he came back. I wouldn't say possible, because writers, we are creative, okay? And I've learned, I've seen people like I'm gonna use magic to make everybody forget this, or I'm gonna use mind power to make everybody forget this. Nah,
you petty.
I'm gonna put the Purple Man on TV and tell everybody to forget it.
You petty. you petty. I heard No Way Home in that. Anyway.
No, I mean, what was that? That was the Born Again story. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get into Devil's Reign, but you done messed it up because you said Luke Cage was overseas. What?
Yeah.
He was not overseas during that story. What are you talking about? We read it. So what is that? Oh, so Mike Coulter really don't want to come back, do he? You know, so all right, them the kind of things, I go out conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? When I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they did, and they had Jessica Jones' daughter on there, but they did.
Yeah.
Just stop. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, they just keep failing and failing and failing and failing. Yeah, just hit the reset button already. Everything you
know what bothers me?
Just hit the reset button.
You know what bothers me about stuff like that? We doing this show right now, and we using smart devices to do this show.
Right.
Yeah, you will have the episode pop up, right? Daredevil, right? And you got all these fan groups out there on social media. And you go to the comment section. I just go to read now. And you be like,
yeah.
So you don't read comics either. You don't read.
Nah.
I'm looking at folks upset. Well, she ain't got no business being Captain America. I'm like, aside from the fact that that's actually what happens in the comics, I don't know what to tell you.
And don't need no shield, just carrying it for window dressing.
Yeah, that's it. But you know what? Somebody said that. They was like, actually the shield can serve as an offensive and defensive purpose. I was like, it's a damn shame you got to explain that to a comic book fan. Because she's strong, but she ain't got no long range weaponry unless she's throwing that damn shield. Do we really have to tell? So it's. I love what you said. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's part of the one of the reasons why I delve into indie comics, everything, right? One thing I thought it was an issue was a generational gap for readers from our era to now. You get a kid and everything today, they go buy a book and everything based off the cover, and that's it. But they don't read that book. They buy that book and everything, that book doesn't come out of the sleeve. And he probably eventually just put it in there and they'll read it, right? And so I often now just sit down and get a chance of everything. I go to conventions and everything. I sit on panels and stuff, or I get a chance to just talk to young readers that come by the table to buy the book. Before they actually pick up the book and everything, I tell them the why this story exists and why they would enjoy it, how it connects and everything going forth to the future. And I tell them about literacy and everything too. You're gonna see some words and everything here you probably have to look up, get into a dictionary and everything, right? To understand this, understanding and whatnot for what this actually means. I'm teaching you literacy and why that's going to be important for you going forward to the future. And so it's trying to bridge that connective tissue, that gap, a generational gap of comic book readers that really doesn't exist today. There's a small gap, a small, just a handful and everything of us that's still collecting everything to actually go out there and actually sit in the books, open a book up in the comic book store, look at everything, and go buy and go ask about, hey, when the next issue going to be coming out, everything, right? And have communication with the staff at the comic book store. You sitting there for like nearly about hour and a half, 2 hours in the comic book store, everything, to where you're like, man, they know your name, they know what you like, they make recommendation everything for you when you walk into your store. All of that doesn't exist anymore. And so, now it's just, I want to buy this book, I'm going to sell it to make a quick buck and everything, right? No, I actually collect books. I actually read books. I actually take time to go back and read back material and everything, right? If I had read it 100,000 times and everything, I would still read this book because I enjoyed it. There's something that just pulls me every time I read it. Or I find a aha moment that I didn't look at beforehand. It was like, I didn't think about that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense now. And it makes me go read another issue or another book and everything like that too, right? That's why I say, even today with Marvel and DC, there's a lot of books and everything. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. There's no connective tissue everything here. The writing is just terrible. But we allowed it to happen by continuing to buy books because it's Marvel and DC. Whereas from indie standpoint,
So
I was just saying, it's so pertinent, it's so relevant that you say that when we look at the online discourse in regards to comics, their place when it comes, their positioning when it comes to the relevancy of superheroes. You hear folks now saying, well, I ain't got to read comics to be a superhero fan. I'm like, well, how do you know what you're talking about? And they're basing all of their stuff in ways that they wouldn't do with any other genre in literature. They base the majority, if not half, their knowledge on what they've seen via live action or via animation, as opposed to diving into the comics. It's one of the reasons why I want to say we found ourselves somewhat successful in reviewing older titles, because they don't know those stories sit out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're surprised that a character is able to do something, because the character ain't doing it where you doing it, where you watching it, consuming the character at, because that's stuff that's based on the source material. It's not the source material. So it's very telling that you're saying that, because that is playing out as we sit here and talk. That's playing out. Folks aren't reading, being braggadocious about it too.
and I'm seeing what's happening too. Just the genre itself. I mean, you would know better than me, because you done been out here at conventions, and you know what I'm saying. I don't know if it's just the geographical place where I'm at, but I don't understand how you have a whole comic book convention and the thing ain't packed. I mean, just in the past, comic book conventions I've been to are just like, we trying to scoot past each other room. You know what I'm saying? It's that many people in there. But like I was just at a comic convention this past weekend, and I'm like, I was surprised at how much space it was to move around, and like how quick I got up to talk to the people who was at the convention. I'm like, it ain't no getting in line. I'm like the 12th person in line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like the interest in them is waning or declining?
No. I would tell you, I went to my first Blurred Con out of DC.
Okay.
It changed my whole entire perspective on conventions and stuff, on why it's hit and miss at some of these conventions and everything, right? Blurred Con was an experience. It was 3 days, 24/7, nonstop. And people brought everything. We sold out everything, right? But it wasn't about the sales. We got a chance to see cosplayers that was in tune and wanted to know more, or sought you out to hear from you, take a picture and everything with you, learn about your stories, everything, right? Bring their kids and everything up to your table, and the parents and everything sitting there to say, you need to listen to this, listen to him, listen to his story, to these young boys, right? These young girls. There was, BlurredCon just gave me a different perception of how a convention should go. It was, yes, they have parties and everything, right? But they had panels, they had shows, they had things and stuff that was warranted to, expand the experience within a community. And it brought people into the fold, right? I saw, parents bring their kids or everything. They're like, I know they were late, they was tired, but they wanted to immerse them into this environment. And it was embracing a culture that was important. It was really focusing on comics, right? And so, and it really focused on a lot of indie, more so than anything else. And that's one of the beauties of everything about indie comics. The handcuffs are off. No one can tell you how to write your stories and what you can say. You play your playground. Whereas from Marvel with DC, you have to go through different editors. The editor has to approve your story. They probably do rewrites and everything too at the same time. So the story and everything itself is not authentic to the originality of the original script. If I was an person, let me see your original script. I guarantee you it's more like a different, right? Do I write my stories and everything by editor? I do.
Jed McKay. You know what? You saying something. And I think we've seen it. Daryl, we've talked about it, but not in the way he just mentioned it. The way y'all both just mentioned it. Actually, his excitement, his enthusiasm at BlurredCon, it was nonstop and everything like that. People were engaged. You going to the Comic-Con and it's empty. Well, you know what? That makes sense when you think about it. We are out there in the social media ether and everything like that. Fans have been openly complaining about the direction of the writing in the big two for the past 4 or 5 years. And what you get from editors and assistant editors, oh, we don't care. We're going to do what we want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do with the character. Okay, well, you the DJ playing what you want to listen to in the club. Now, that's what you're going to do. Don't complain when the dance floor is empty. Don't complain when ain't nobody buying anything from the bar.
And that's the best way. That's the best way to talk to people is with your money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, okay, if I would like to see this in this book, and you go, nah, we ain't doing that. Okay, how much longer do you think it's gonna be before I stop buying your book?
Right. Now watch where we go with this, because it's getting a little deeper. We've sort of embraced this lack of diversity. And I've been saying for the longest time, you can't make money without being diverse. I don't know what you got going on, but you got to get money from everybody. They're still getting money, but they're getting money from that small segment that they cater to. Those who are sick and tired of that, we're going to the events where we feel celebrated, not tolerated. Thus the BlurredCon. So I think what we're seeing, what y'all have experienced, is playing out in real time. Comic book fans being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Money is not infinite. Not in my wallet, it ain't. I'm gonna spend my money where I feel appreciated and where I'm getting the stories, regardless of what those characters look like. I'm getting the stories that I want.
Yep.
That's the difference. That's the biggest difference. So I think we're seeing it play out real time.
And a lot of us just want to see more of us. That's all it is. I mean, what's wrong with me? And this is what I imagine maybe for in the future for my children or my grandchildren. What's wrong with me having, because I remember as a kid, and even now, I got stacks and stacks and long boxes full of comic books. How many of those comic books? Well, a lot of them, because I collect a lot of Black Panther and a lot of Luke Cage. But how many of them have characters in them predominantly that look like me? Not a lot of them. So it's like, and that's all the big two churn out predominantly. And so it's like, when am I gonna get to see me? You know what I'm saying? I mean, for the most part, us here at the Rock With Me Nation, we done had to do it at the house. You know what I'm saying? So we action figure diggers and we change things. So it's like, okay, you can check my videos out. Who? Me? I'm not worried. But a lot of other people, that's a problem for them. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's indie stuff out here, just like my man Kamayo said here in the chat. It's indie stuff out here that you don't have to be. I don't know. I felt shackled. You know what I'm saying, for a long time, because after I say like mid 2000 teens, comics as a whole for me is like, and it was because of where I was trying to get it from. You see what I'm saying? Because the big two, they got the standard. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. We had Joe Illidge on the show. And Joe Illidge, it depends on who you are when you walk in the door. If you walk in the door and you got an Italian name, you pretty much say, I'm going to do whatever. And they're going to be like, all right. You walk in there and your last name Jackson or Johnson, Jenkins, you know what I'm saying? It might not necessarily go that way unless you got some decades in, you know what I'm saying? And they know you a factor and a figure. You understand what I'm saying? So that was my one moment where I felt like I needed to rant. But it's Friday and we vibing, so it's cool.
Well, I was share with you. That's why I said I love coming home and everything, right? Being to talk to my dad. And you have to be able to reach people where they are. And so one thing I did just recently everything was I opened up a small shop and everything, a small little location. I call it a shop because I put my books and everything in there in a barber shop.
Okay.
I was doing that for 2 barbershops and everything in my hometown. Uh, and that way people have access, kids have access to everything to our comic books and stuff like that. Made a purchase. And they'll be able to go to the comic book store, purchase the same price point or even cheaper or lower. How is it even possible and everything? Because of distribution. I have my own method of distribution. One thing I was always told was by when I was in the military, uh, by one of our honorary commanders, he was like, Fred, it takes money to make money.
Indeed,
You have to find the money. And so I work for it. I go out there and I claw and grind everything to the same time. And I pour back every little cent I have everything into building an ecosystem for indie creators. I built the House of Wise, my imprint for Wise and Comics to open up doors, to pull a seat at the table and everything, to make sure that those individuals still had a seat at the table to share their stories with the world. I always say their voice and everything, their superpower, right? That's the reason why. I don't ask for anything in return. I just wanted to give them opportunity to share their stories, give them the resources, everything too at the same time. They have an editor, an artist, a cutter, colorer, a letterer. Give them the tools to bring their story to the forefront, the resource, everything to make that happen. And then on top of that, the next phase, everything, right, is distribution. We have Black-owned stores, everything out there. However, though, there's no distribution route for those indie comics, everything to make it to those stores. Well, I'm hoping to change that very, very soon. I've been doing a lot of research and everything for the last couple of years, everything, setting the groundwork for a Black-owned distribution company.
Somebody.
I had already. How many times I done came on this channel right here and said, you know what all these indie companies need?
It's too many.
Distribution system that can get that stuff to where it needs to be so they can get their guap.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Me and Darryl sat up here and crunched numbers. That's my big brother and everything like that. And I'm like, I'm not real big on complaining. You know, I don't mind making folks aware of stuff, but I'm not big on complaining. Not when, if I look at history, I can get it for myself. There's 10 to 14 Black billionaires in this country, in America. It's 10.5 million, something like that, Black millionaires. So it ain't like we ain't got the money. I'm not finna keep doing that. I'm not finna keep hearing that. No, it's a matter of, I'm not checking nobody's pockets, but it's a matter of what we doing with our money. You could be doing you, but we can't be complaining about we not doing us if you just doing you. You can't, you ain't got nothing to say in this particular situation. So I'm glad you're doing that. We need that. Please let us know when you get that up and running and everything like that, because we've been needing that. We've been needing that. We've been needing that. So yeah, big ups to that. Big up to that.
The goals are focused on the Black-owned stores and, you know, bringing in indie comics and everything. Not the big two, but indie comics and everything, right? Of BIPOC characters and creators, everything too, right? To the forefront to be able to share their works. And these stores have to be willing to open up their space and everything, their doors and stuff, for these indie creators. That's part of the solution, everything as well. You know, yes, you have a store. We're going to give you a cut of the pie to make that happen, right? Me leveraging my military experience and everything, you know, doing my time and stuff overseas and stuff like that. That's what a piece of the puzzle, everything too, right? Trying to figure out, okay, printers, because the cost of print is so high. Indie creators and everything can't thrive when it comes to producing short runs and everything, right? They need to be able to produce longer runs, bigger runs. But it's be able to produce bigger runs, we need people actually going to the store buying the books to make that happen. If that doesn't happen, there's no mechanism for us to actually print that many of books to purchase everything. No one going to go out there and print 500, 1,000, 2,000 books, everything, if it's not being brought by the consumer. And so at the end of the day, we have to create a model, a structure to create a pipeline to allow for that to happen and make it easier, because I can have a website all day long, right? But there are a lot of people that don't know about Wise Acre Comics or never heard of Magnus before. And they're like, how do I get this book? And we've been out here for since 2022. That's a problem. And so we're trying to tackle those issues and everything by, yes, going to conventions, showcasing ourselves and everything, showcasing our books and everything to the world, but also getting to these spaces to where, those doors are often closed. And I'm trying to knock them down to open them up for everyone to gain access to these tools and these resources and everything. I'm not here to try to be a middleman. I'm here to try to work behind the scenes to build something for everyone that can thrive, especially people of color.
It definitely echoes the sentiments. Yeah, that definitely echoes the sentiments of I apologize there, of those that we've had on Lonzo and Lonnie, Dark City Comic, and dadgummit, I'm not gonna forget the other one, Daryl, Dark City Comics and Concrete Comics and everything like that. Everybody plays their part. And it's, when it comes to getting out there and everything, one of the things that we talked about is the role that we play as comic book reviewers. We do stuff for the free, for the big two. It needs to be something where that's done for us as well. Shout out to Daryl. He wound up talking about I'm going to say the acolytes, and I'm probably getting that wrong. But Daryl was talking about a comic, and then we had this big drama unfold, and then you got one of the dudes, I'm not going to mention any names or whatever, he started.
And the antagonist.
The antagonist. Daryl covered that series 2 years ago, and then some drama popped off earlier this year. I'm not going to mention any names, but then one of the people that got caught up in the drama started covering the antagonist and then started sending folks Daryl's way. Well, the thing was, Daryl had been covered that comic. Daryl had been covered that comic. And I believe in giving props where props is due. Daryl had been covered that comic. The thing is, there's got to be more people, and it can't be where we feeling like we want to trigger one another, call each other out during Black History Month or whatever. Now we want to focus on Black comics. No, that should be something we wake up doing anyway, because we do it for everybody else. Why not be able to do it for us? So it's definitely one of those things where, like you said, everybody in the mechanism has to play their role, has to be a part of that model, and play their role, play their part in getting these comics to the attention that people need.
Yeah, I don't. Competition. I'm not here to compete against no one, because I want everybody to eat right. That's one thing. I keep my head down. I keep grinding everything. I know where I come from. I understand. We live in a world everything today that's really divided, and that's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, I wore the uniform, and I had to bite my bottom lip quite a bit because I didn't have a voice. I signed up for that. I did. A lot of that comes in my storytelling. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to tell you in my story the why, the how, and why these things and stuff are important. At the end of the day, I tell everybody, Black history cannot be just one day out of the year. It's 365, 24/7. That's where I operate. And these voices have to be heard loud and clear, right? But when it comes to opinions, that's what it is, opinions. At the end of the day, everybody will have their own opinion. And respect goes a long way at the same time, too. And, that's something that has to be garnered and earned over time to, what you do as a person, individual, everything at the same time. The other thing, the other part of the problem of everything, too, is if I don't like something, then I don't buy it. It's just that simple. At the end of the day, if I don't support it, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to speak on it. If when it comes to social media, everything, I don't do nothing on social media. If I got something I got to say, I'm going to talk to you face to face, everything about it, right? Like there's certain stuff I don't talk about because, again, there are things that happen behind the scenes that I can't control. Legally wise, I can't speak on it, right? And so I had to make sure that, I do my part, my due diligence and everything to make sure, I don't get myself caught legally wise and in trouble and everything. So I stick to my lane. I stay in my lane to where, my focus, everything has been uplifting the community as a whole, not turn it down. And I won't let, I don't get too much politics and everything, right? I don't let politics and everything control the narrative of what I'm trying to do and everything for people. I can't let those voices tear down what I'm trying to build and open up for the Indian community to thrive. Because I want to see everyone be successful in this space, right? Like I said, Dwayne McDuffie, Milestone, Big City Comics, Anaya, all of these early adopters in the comics, everything, right? Paved the way, opened up doors. And even today and everything, even during that time frame, it still exists and everything too, to where we try to find ways to tear each other down. We won't get nowhere by doing that, right? I don't call it right versus wrong. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But at the end of the day, if it's wrong and everything, I do it with professional tact and tone. That's how I operate. When I speak, like I said, I had a great mentor of mine, everything, Chief Lewis. He always say, you can't be the loudest voice in the room because no one will hear you. But when you speak, you will be heard. And, that's the philosophy thing I live by. There's a time and place and everything for me to speak. When it's time for me to speak my truth, I speak my truth on the matter and everything, right? But at the end of the day, there's a focal point that I have right now for building an imprint, uplifting a community of creators and stuff that looking to get their stories and everything out there. And, I will tell you, President Obama, his book really resonated with me because he gave his truth and everything about how he came to be, this person. And at the end of the day, he still has not changed his tone of hope. And I'm hopeful for the Indian community that we can get over our grievances and everything and continue to find a way to, uplift each other and be successful in everything. And like I said, at the end of the day, if we allow these rifts and everything to grow, it's only going to continue to tear us down more and more. There's no, good that will come out of this. Now, if you're wrong, though, then I call it like it is. One thing I tell people everything all the time when it comes to Kickstarter, I would say Kickstarters, because it's been a topic of discussion, everything. I'm an honest broker. When it comes to rewards, I make sure that I get your books into your hands because you supported me. And then if there's an issue and everything, right, I'm transparent. I make sure I communicate that hey, there's an issue, there's a delay. This is the reason why. But I'm going to make sure that you're going to have your book in the hand within at least 3 to 4 months after that Kickstarter everything has ended. I'm not going to do it a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on down the line.
Okay,
right?
I got a question. I mean, cut you off, but because that there's been a lot of talk about that lately, and particularly around one indie company, but when a Kickstarter is fully funded,
yep,
we're going through the process of actually mass producing what we're telling you to fund.
Yes.
And then distributing that.
Yes.
Okay. And that process is the process that takes.
Well, if you said you on a Kickstarter campaign, right? You set a time frame for when you expect that Kickstarter everything to be fulfilled.
Right.
All of your backers everything can see that date, right? And then you post updates. You're supposed to post updates, everything to make sure your backers and stuff are informed on the issues at hand. Or, hey, we're finished with print production. The books be out next week, shipping out and everything. You want to make sure your backers and stuff are updated because they can see those things. And then also too, if there are comments were being posted by other backers and stuff that have not received their goods, that's a red flag to the community. Everything that, hey, look, there might be an issue. Everything here, you might not go into that support down the line for future campaigns that can hinder you, right? So the one thing is stuff, and it's to me, it's a Kickstarter platform. It's an issue with Kickstarter and everything itself. Kickstarter need to create a mechanism to where they won't allow other creators and stuff to run a launch another campaign unless those other campaigns are fulfilled. They can do that, but they choose not
Had
to.
a great time.
And
I have
so,
been out since, I guess, what you could say, 1.
Are you inebriated?
I am.
I can tell.
We can hear that.
But I'm home now.
We can hear.
Okay, you took the Uber.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, tell me about your.
We're gonna talk.
Tell me about your evening.
Okay.
Are you on the line?
I was, but I jumped off when you called. I told you my daughter come first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to your live. I'm fine.
There. Okay. Now, what you were saying?
So it's a Kickstarter transparency thing, right? And so in the community, this has been an issue with the entirety of the community, everything as a whole. It doesn't just impact just one, comic book creator and everything, right? There's a multitude of crazy everything out there that this has, they have not funded or fulfilled their campaign. This is the issue. This is the real and everything. When you hand money over to anyone and you expect something in return and you don't receive that product and everything, that's wrong. That's bad. Unless you tell them well ahead of time, hey, look, these things have been delayed. That's reasonable in a reasonable time. And so, that's the issue to where you have to make sure that you're managing those funds in a timely fashion in a proper manner. Because end of the day, when I get a campaign, for example, if I fund a campaign, right, I've already calculated how much it costs for me to print all of my books, all of my rewards. Those things and stuff are done well beforehand. So that way, when the funds, everything come in, I make sure that I account for shipping, all of my mailers, all of my metal prints, posters, books, variant covers, the whole 9 yards is covered. And if it's not covered, guess what I got to do? I have to pay out of pocket myself. And that's okay. I'm not going to delay your book because I mismanaged the calculations and everything for the funds. Instead, I'm going to make sure that it's paid for if it comes out of my pocket. That way, I get your book in your hands in a timely manner. That's the way it should be done on Kickstarter. I have pledged for campaigns.
You funding it because you want it, right? Yes. Okay, so if you help fund it, you should get a copy of it, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all because so something rotten in the state of Denmark with some people. So because it don't take that long to make no comic book.
There's good and bad, right? There's been a campaign, everything I backed 5 years ago. Haven't got anything. Haven't heard a peep. Nothing. Now, in reality, and everything, right? You can say that's theft. They took the money and ran. That's how it goes. That's wrong.
But what happened when you don't run? You take the money and you steal around. Yeah. What happens then?
Well, that's the thing about it, right? Because again, you see all the comments, everything on the feed and everything, or people get emails and stuff like that too, right? And people ghost them. They don't, and then they probably come back and say, you know what? I'm running the campaign. That's where I say your dollar goes a long way by not supporting those efforts and everything going forward to the future. There has to be a guardrail somewhere in place to negate those things from happening and everything, right? You have to do right by people at the end of the day. It's business. Yes, your people are supporting your business. That's what it's about. And so that's why I say I took the mindset of, hey, look, I tell my team, We launch a campaign. Your book has to be 75% complete. If it's not 75% complete, we're not launching that campaign, because this book needs to be finished by the time the campaign ends to allow us to go ahead and get the book and everything fulfilled, print it, ready to go, and get it ready to ship out. We don't run a campaign if that book's not finished, almost near to finish. It's not fair to the consumer to sit there and wait a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or never receive it at all because of our misdoing. It's not fair. And so while it comes, everything has pledged and made a promise, everything that all rewards will go out in a timely fashion because those books, everything are ready to go. And so if it's not on our Kickstarter campaign, it goes to our website. So we post a book and everything like this right here in the Meadows. This book has been developed and everything, right? But it wasn't Kickstarter. This book is finished. And now it's on the website for direct consumer to actually purchase everything and get it shipped to them directly.
So what about updates on a Kickstarter? Like, how often do you get updates on a Kickstarter?
So I hate spam. Right? So after the campaign and everything, I'll give you your first update, and it tells you what's going to happen. These milestones are going to happen over the time period, right? So you know exactly what's going to happen, everything, and what to expect. And if there's a delay, I do it immediately. But I try to make sure that at least there's an update at least twice a month, because I hate to spam you and everything. Now, if there is a question, I respond immediately and comment to that question. So I'm always engaged in the Kickstarter community and everything to make sure that people are aware that, hey, look, we're watching and listening to your comments and your feedback and everything too. And then across social media, you will see a mass post that goes out that shows all of the books and everything, and to give you a status of where we're at in the process. If we're saying, hey, surveys have been sent. It says surveys sent. Okay, book is in final editing, proofing mode. It's been proofed and everything by the printer for production. Boom. Now we say, hey, book is in full production. Boom, book is in full production, right? All of this is going across social media. You see that you're seeing the process as it happens. So when we say fulfillment, that means fulfillment has been complete. That means all books, rewards, everything has been shipped out, and we're ready to start on the next campaign. That's how things should be done in a proper manner, to where you keep the community everything informed, so that way you don't have this issue that you deal with everything within the indie community, because the indie community really depend upon sometimes crowdfunding to support their efforts. We have a few, and it's not that many, but a few Rotten Tomatoes, everything that cause issues and whatnot in the community and everything that impacts all of us, because we put everybody in that bucket now because we're indie. So at the end of the day, I hate labels. I really do. I hate putting labels on people and everything. But there's a right way and a wrong way. And a lot of it too at the same time said, it's not us. It's not on us all the time. I also put the onus of everything on Kickstarter, because they can stop it. They can stop these things from happening by saying, hey, look, we see that your campaign is not fulfilled. We can't let you run another campaign. The platform allow for this to take place. Now, do I agree that people are calling these things everything out to inform the community everything? Like I said, there's always a way to do these things professionally wise. I'm an utmost professional in this matter. If I have grievances and everything, I'm going to go behind the scenes. I'm going to talk to you behind the scenes and say, hey, look, and if I don't say anything, then just understand something. That has meaning as well, right? If I don't say nothing, that means more likely my dollar no longer support those individuals and stuff. As simple as that. So at the end of the day, I pour those resources, everything, into people that deliver on their promise, people that uplift the community as a whole, people that find ways to build rather than tear down. And so I hate being around negativity. I tell everybody that and everything. I can't stand it. I'm a I have a positive outlook. I want to be around good energy. I can't be around negative energy, right? Because it impacts my writing. And once it affects my writing and everything. I can't focus on getting these books and everything out. So I don't want. I never participate in the drama. I just stay quiet. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people ask the question and everything. They talk about it, but I have to focus on what's happening right now for Wise Acre Comics, the House of Wise family, distribution for the indie comic community and everything, Black-owned comic book stores, creating pipelines and everything for opportunities and stuff for distribution, to be able to share those resources and everything with other creators and everything out there that's looking for those tools to also create bridge to Africa for those creators and everything to share their works and everything too. We just signed an amazing artist, Stanley Abende, to lead our African division to bring those stories and everything to the forefront, to be able to share, hopefully soon, hopefully be able to open up opportunities and everything in Africa for those creators and everything to be able to share their works and everything there as well. So there's just a lot that we can do, but we're going to need all of us together and everything to make this happen. And if that doesn't happen, we need to find ways to just tear this space and everything down, take it, tear it apart. We're going to become a dying breed. We really are.
You're absolutely right. I know last year and everything like that. Kamoyo King is in the chat right now. We were talking about in regards to growing a fandom and everything like that. That you don't have time to get caught up inside conversations, if you will, for lack of better terminology. You have to keep moving forward. You can't be creative when you in a dark place. You arguing, you going back and forth, and no, you got a mission. It's your mission. You the one that said you was gonna do it, so you don't have time to be caught up in distractions, because that's what they are at the end of the day, just distractions. So no, you're absolutely right. What you're trying to do, not what you're trying to do, what you're actually doing. No, you ain't got time. You ain't got time. Maybe 24 hours in a day.
Plus, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Why you want to give any lip service to something about something you getting paid for anyway? So yeah, I get that 100.
But for me, right? I've been fortunate enough, and it's never been about the money for me. It's always been about the story, because there has been voices that has been suppressed to where they've never been heard. And
well, what I'm saying from a standpoint of, there are people on social media that
I don't see often,
that's the standpoint I was talking from. There are people that come on social media and all they got to do is detract and say negative things. And I mean, a critique is one thing, but to just straight rail on somebody's stuff, man, ain't nobody got time for that, unless you running a narrative or an agenda or something like that, which is the case of this 115 issue book. But absolutely not. I absolutely story first. If you ain't telling the story, what are you telling us?
Like I said, if there's a space for everything, right? For me and everything, right? I see everything that's happening in the world. I see it. But at the end of the day, my actions speak. I make sure that I walk a certain way, and I let my actions speak and everything. The way I do things, the way I operate everything. Like I said, I've been doing this for the way I operate. Same thing I do in the military. When I was in the military, everything. When I was on active duty, I take care of my younger airmen. I took care of my supervisors and everything too. At the same time, I took care of my people, because at the end of the day, my people would take care of me, and that's how I operate. And so, if this enemy community, everything is going to be able to thrive, we have to take care of each other. And so, you can do it either way. Yes, you can call them out. That's one way you want to do it and everything. Great, but you have to take the good and the bad that go with it and everything too, right? Because there's going to be an outcry on both sides of the equation. I walk a middle line. I walk straight through all the noise. I hear it, I see it, but I have to have a purpose. My purpose is to uplift everyone as much as possible. And if I can, because there are things and stuff where a creator come to me and everything and say, hey, Fred, I can't pay for this book. And I say, you know what? I love this story so much. You know what? I'm going to pay for it myself. Don't worry about it. You bring your story. I'm going to put a team of everything around you. And I'm going to pay for all of the pages, all of the art, all of the lettering, everything too, to get this story and everything out. That's where the Black Root Press imprint model came from. To a lot of creators, they don't have the financial capital to be able to share their stories and everything with the world, but give them an opportunity to bring their story and everything to the forefront, and we cover the cost on their behalf, right? But we can do that for everybody. But we try to, I would try our best, try to make everything to make sure we find artists and everything that believe in this process to where they want to be able to perform everything too at the same time to be able to bring those stories and everything to the forefront. And so there's, like I said, there's just a lot of things and stuff that we're doing that, you know, I make time for, but when it comes to noise that I have nothing to do with, I really don't involve myself into that noise, right? I don't add to it. But when it comes to Kickstarter campaigns, though, I will, because most things go wrong, and it impacts the community as a whole, and it has, because there's questions that came up and everything. I have been in the rooms and stuff with conversations and stuff with some higher ups and stuff like that, right? It impacts us. We have to be able to do right. And then, like I said, when the platforms decide to change the status quo, it becomes a ripple effect where it impacts all of us to where it suppresses everything away for distribution going forward to the future because of issues and stuff that have been happening. And it's just not any companies and stuff, right? This is other things, other items and stuff, electronics and everything, games. People are getting away with highway robbery on this platform. People are making millions of dollars on this platform and have yet to fulfill an item. Honestly, folks, that's theft. That is. That's you stealing. And so, you know, it's just not us in this community, everything that's this happening to. I have back games 5 years ago. They said the game's gonna be out year after year after year after year. Nothing. This individual or a group of people, everything made over millions of dollars, everything on this platform. And if you request a refund, it's crickets. And so, you know, something has to change on Kickstarter side of the house for them to fix these issues that we're dealing with. So it's just have to be on the crazy stuff. Yes, they're part of the problem, but there have to be some solutions, everything offered for this to be able to be fixed. And that's what we're trying to make sure we're offering that feedback to Kickstarter and let them know, hey, like these things are happening. What are you going to do about it? Because at the end of the day, I can take my business and stuff elsewhere off the platform and go direct to the consumer without having to go through Kickstarter. And that's a little bit of a model and everything we are shifting towards everything with our bigger books, to where our bigger books, everything is, you want to see those books, go to the website, buy the book, it's ready to go, it's printed, we got inventory, we can ship it to you. So, but these are conversations stuff we need to have. We need to have across all
sounds
platforms.
like evolution. What you're proposing sounds like evolution from what the normal, or I'd say current way of distributing indie comics operates now. That's just a natural evolution. How do we make this better? And you one of the people who are sitting down and you actually putting your head to the problem and saying, how can this be made better? Not just for me, but for everybody who's in my situation. So salute to you for that in a major way, Mr. Little.
Appreciate it. Like I said, our goal is to establish a distribution pipeline and everything. So you have to worry about depending on Kickstarter and everything going forward to the future. There's a mechanism, everything in place to where you can direct to print. You can print your book and everything, go to your online store, or distribute it to these 15 Black-owned book comic book stores that's in the States, everything directly. You know, so we're trying to create mechanisms and stuff that, you know, everyone can be able to share their works and everything, and be able to walk into their stores and stuff, and be able to share their books and stuff with these store owners. That way, hopefully, we can create more Black-owned comic book stores in the future. Now, I don't want to spell other thing out there, right? Because again, I'm opening, different avenues and everything for distribution, everything for everyone. It doesn't care what walk of life and everything you come, your background, not like that whatsoever, anything, right? Um, my goal is if you're doing good in this world, we can make that happen. If you're doing the right thing, everything, we can make that happen. If you got great stories, everything too at the same time. If we even your story is not that great, but it's a starting point. We point you in the right direction to give you the tools, the resources, everything, provide you with a good team to get you where you want to go with your story. Uh, that's what it should be about. That's what it should be about. Open up opportunities. And now, one thing I do agree with, and I think Joe has said this quite a bit, everything, Joe Illich, you have to own your IP. You have to own your IP.
Definitely have to own your IP.
And that's something we make sure that our creators, everything they do, they own their IP 100% across the board. We don't take anything from them whatsoever, anything, right? This house we created, everything is very diverse. We have a range of different genres, a range of different books, everything too. I think people would definitely enjoy. And like I said, you talk about country comics. Alonzo has a great staple everything over there as well. Acolyte is one of my favorite reads. I love that book. You have, Shout to New Horizon with Spirit, Thema, 615 comics and everything. We have to be able to uplift and old capacity and everything. I can just think about me when I'm on the show, right? I think a shout out to these other creators everything too at the same time. They are a staple in everything in this space. They're doing some great work and everything too at the same time. So shout out to those brothers and everything and sisters and stuff out there doing some good stuff for us. We just signed a young lady, female editor, right? Toshi J.
I saw that. Yeah.
For new Aftermath series, everything. She's doing some great work for us, giving us new ideas and everything too for the writing team. That's sparking just different things and stuff. Those are just powerful nuggets and stuff that we're trying to focus everything on. But we need you too. These podcasts, everything too, help us thrive. It help us get our voice and everything out there also. So salute to you, to Jim and everything as well for definitely having me on, share my stories and everything too at the same time. And I'm glad you're enjoying Magnus.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. Are we ever gonna see Magnus beat the shit out of Blige?
You got a little taste, right?
Yeah, but that's all it was a taste. I need to play.
I gave you a little bit of tease. There's something I can't get into right now that's going to happen. That's going to shift. That's going to shift your perception of everything on Blige going forward to the future. I'm going to leave it at that right there.
Okay. I done read a couple comic books in my lifetime. Like I said, I got no about where the direction could go.
Yeah, there's going to be a love-hate relationship with a lot of the characters, everything in this story that you going to come about and see. One is coming very, very soon. You're going to see issue number 6. I will tell you that I hated this character when we first wrote her and everything. I told Devin this everything. I said, man, look, I hate her guts. I can't stand her, but I couldn't love her now because of who she is, right? And how we wrote her and everything going forward to the future. These are the type of characters, everything you want to make sure you're able to resonate with and everything too at the same time. You see her flaws, you see their weaknesses, everything too. You see their strengths also, right? But you see something. I always say everyone has a goodness in them, even if they're the bad guy.
Even the broke clock is right twice a day.
Yes, it is. Did you grow up on hip hop music, sir?
I did.
Okay. We always get to this part of the show where we start talking about hip hop and things of that nature. I have always posited that hip hop came in eras. And a lot of people will dole it out as such. And for me, this is how it went. Okay. You had Golden Age, right? That was like what, and we talking about a nationwide standpoint, we talking like 82, 80, maybe 80. You go back like 80, from 80, because what, Planet Rock was 80, from 80 to about like 88, 89. Everything was still kind of golden age. And Muzz was rapping for the sheer love of the art. And it was just like, oh, if you could rap, you could probably get an album, you know. Yep. And you didn't have to be no gangster, you didn't have to be no thug. All you needed was an energetic gimmick and some bars. And most likely you had an album. Okay. But then there was this shift where the 90s, by and large, was just full of gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? You had your Snoop Dogg's, you had your Too Shorts, you had your E40s, your Scarface, your D. Everybody was just, if you wasn't doing something violent or talking about doing something violent, wasn't nobody listening to your album. Not to say them albums wasn't out there, but gangster stuff dominated the 90s. Let's just be honest. Then 2000s had this sort of this, it was like we had kind of a feel where it was like we was gonna get a shift back to what that was, but then we didn't get that shift. And the youngins took over at some point, and it became something different. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 distinctive eras of hip hop. Now, I ain't gonna say which one you thought was the best. I'm just gonna say which one do you find yourself listening to more often than not?
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't listen to none of the new school stuff.
I figured that.
I don't think they listen to it, to be honest with you. I don't think they listen to it.
I knew you notice I didn't say too much about that. Just it's something else. So yeah, I'm not trying to talk bad on them, but we know they got a stigma around it. But go ahead.
I will tell you. So one thing about me, if I played in the Sunny Boom of the South, Jackson University, in the band, and
okay.
Some of the things and stuff. Well, back in the day, I'm more of a. Do I love gangster rap? I do. I love the Tupac's, the biggest and everything, right? Snoop, Dr. Dre, Too Short, 3 6 Mafia.
Okay.
I keep that right. I keep on Nas, Jay-Z. Those are, that in between era right there, from that shift from gangster rap to, hey, this is pure lyrical and everything, rap, right?
Right.
To there and everything. So I'm a bridge in between that piece right there. But when it comes to music, though,
okay,
I'm an old soul. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Okay. Now, question: is that the best horn section in R&B?
Come on, man.
Okay, all right. He didn't say no. So, bruh, man, they sound like one horn. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like but it's like 3-4 miles playing. They sound like one horn. I'm like, that is the baddest horn section I ever heard. And I've been in a band before. That's the baddest horn section I've ever heard in my life.
There's no
y'all made me
whatsoever. So just saying.
Y'all made me think of something just then, because we talking about music, Daryl. I love R&B and everything like that. And when you said Earth, Wind, and Fire, you made me have an epiphany, because I've asked different guests, is R&B dead? You get different answers. And I said to myself, you said horn section. The last R&B band I can think of that we had was Mint Condition. They didn't broke up, but we ain't even got no R&B groups right now. We ain't got no 4-part harmony, no 3-part harmony, no 4 or 5, none of that. None of that.
Okay.
If we ain't got no R&B band, we ain't got no R&B group, R&B is dead. It's like we ain't got 5 or 4 brothers that don't mind singing in harmony. R&B is dead. R&B is dead. You know what? I'm sorry.
Only place you gonna find R&B is on a playlist and on tour.
My cell phone stay with me 24/7.
There are mad tours. I just talking to a friend of mine, a classmate of mine. She's a AKA, and she live in Indiana, and New Edition just came through there. They touring together. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I went back. I watched that New Edition story. That was very
we ain't even got dudes. We ain't even got. You remember we used to. Y'all know how we used to be. We would pull up in the club, 3, 4 of us. Let our favorite jam come on. Jam. Oh, jam. Jam. We look at each other. Come on, we don't, man. Now we got to say pause for every daggum thing. You ain't have to say pause before. You ain't have to say pause before. You know what? It's dead.
That was yeah. Dang. I was saying, you gonna make me pull up my playlist and maybe I get out of here. I'll pull up a playlist. I'm like, I'm pour out some for R&B.
we had Prof T on the show. Prof T was one of our first guests from the group. Low key and everything like that. All right, y'all, sing it now. I'm like, we don't do that no more. We don't do that no more. We want to rap to a female now. We used to did not mind trying to sing or at the very least write some poetry to holler at her. We don't want to do that no more. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead.
You know that song, I Got a Thing for You, right?
Yeah.
He was on here. Do you know the way he talked about it, he said, I meant every word of that song. When I wrote that song, I meant every word. Dark and lovely. No one above it. You know
Dark and lovely. No one above it. Ooh, girl, you really got it going on. Yeah.
When I said that, I was like, I see you.
So yeah, you made me think about it when you said Earth, Wind, and Fire, because just going Earth, Wind, and Fire, New Edition, the Temptations, the Commodores, the Isley Brothers, Isley, Jasper Isley, Confunction, Midnight Star, Atlantic Star, 5 Star, all them damn stars.
All them stars.
We ain't got that no more, man.
Don't forget the loose ends. Don't forget the loose ends.
Y'all got me in my feelings. Remember Jody Watley tonight?
Don't leave him hanging on the string now.
We're gonna make it a night to remember. Damn it, Howard Hewitt. Damn. See, this is why I wish I had a time machine. I know we ain't got one. Daryl, I know you said Theo, live vicariously through your cell phone. Damn it, it ain't the same thing as being there.
No, it's not. Yeah, you want me to tell you what's cool though? You want me to tell you what's cool though? That you do? What you do is you get together with a whole bunch of like-minded individuals, preferably Gen X, and you either throw yourself a 70s, 80s, or 90s theme party.
I'm gonna have to make it
or you go on the BET cruise or go to Essence Fest.
Damn it, something gonna have to give because I'm sick of this.
You got to go find it, like we used to do back in the day when we were younger. You got to go find it. That's why I tell people about hip hop.
I would ask you, have y'all seen Michael yet?
I have not, but I've heard so much about it.
I would tell you. So I took my family and everything, right? My daughters and stuff, they were just playing Michael the entire time at the records and stuff, right? We went to the theater. The theater is packed. I'm seeing just all kind of people and everything, all walks of life and everything, going to see Michael. It was so hard to sit in your seat and stay still that you wanted to get up and just dance. Right. After it was done, it almost seemed like it was a mini concert at the end. It was that powerful. People in there dancing. People in there dancing. Grown folk in there dancing. Because
I guess
music is a love language. It does.
It is. I guess for me, when I think about the movie Michael, right? I can remember, and I think that's what it is for me. It's like the movie will never replace the, being alive during that time frame. ABC, 1, 2, 3, and you live long enough. Not everybody did it. New Edition come around with Candy Girl, and you be like, wait a minute, I didn't heard this hook before. What the hell? And you see this young man, the Jackson 5, you see the cartoons. Say, I don't know if they covered that in the movie. I got the cartoons. I got, we Friday night, we watching ABC, we got the Osmond family and everything like that. And you see the Jackson 5 come out. You see little Janet come out and everything like that. And I'm like, man, I remember this. I don't know if they're going to cover all this here. You know what I'm saying? I get to see the stuff.
Couldn't cover everything, but the part.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. Like, not being able to cover everything, I guess my thing was like, I could go see the movie. I could. And probably where my wife is a huge Michael Jackson fan. That just is what that is. If somebody say something bad about Mike, let me not be around because she is finna go left if she in the area, right? I don't think anything will. This is just me. I'm a big fan of sentimental stuff. The memories that I have of Michael Jackson, I had the Thriller jacket. You feel what I'm saying? I had that beaded jacket. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson and Prince were the reason why I went and got a damn Jerry curl when I was in high school. Like we got to have that. We need. Don't do that, Daryl. Don't do that.
I would say everybody.
You know what I'm saying? This was what that was. And so,
not the Jerry, not the Jerry.
Bro, listen, Linda, look at Michael was transformative as an artist. I seen this dude go from having an afro and wearing a tux to being dark skinned to, like I said, the Jerry curl, being that dude, each MTV, if you ain't gonna play black music, you ain't gotta worry about my stuff. I'm gonna take my stuff over here and everything like that. I'm like, there's just so much. Go ahead.
This is what I would tell every comic book writer. If I'm looking from a comic book lens, they need to go see that movie. And I'll tell you why. Michael was a storyteller. He was a storyteller. And in that movie, they give you exactly what you need to write a story. How he wrote it and everything, right? How he deciphered it. How he came up with the Thriller album was genius. How they did it. How he put things on a board. And if you ever saw Mike's video and everything, right? It wasn't a video you would see today. That video was like 7-10 minutes long. He's doing directing, choreography, the whole 9 yards and everything, right? He's telling a story.
He was ahead of his time. He was ahead of his time.
He was ahead of his time. But
I noticed too, though, they blocked it as far as his entire story, as far as the biopic. It kind of cuts off around like 1988, so we don't get all of that controversy and stuff that you're expecting to get. It's to me, it sounds like it's just a celebration of the entertainment.
It is a celebration of pretty much of just his rise in music and everything, right? For me, you saw a little bit of the story about him, of how his childhood was taken away from him and everything at an early age. That came through, like I said, there's just a story aspect and everything of it. But you saw, when this show, and I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but they haven't seen it yet, but the books and stuff he was reading. I was really paying attention to. I was like, okay, these are some books and everything to where it formed his imagination, his perception, everything on the aspects of storytelling and the way he saw things and stuff in life and stuff like that. And it to me, you saw different sides of Michael, but when he was in his music, though, you saw his utmost humanistic side of genius.
You like to think that that would be good enough for some of us. I'm gonna say the misfortune of coming across one of those podcasts where they were disappointed. One of us, 3 of us, 4 of us, it was 4 of us, disappointed that the controversy wasn't mentioned. But then again, this is one of us that dwells in controversy and drama and everything like that. I'm like, everything ain't got to be about that. And if you were alive during that time frame, we ain't got to revisit. I'm that person that if everybody can love up on theirs without mentioning controversy, we should be able to love up on ours without mentioning controversy.
Yep.
So I wish more of us got that, took away from that, based on what you said, though, being in the movie. A mother of mine said more than enough of us did come away with that based on the reactions that you were telling me about, though. So I'm happy for that. Mike is Mike. I ain't got nothing bad to say about Mike.
I feel like that's a sign of the times. You know what I mean? It's like people dwell more in how can I profit or how can I become more popular from damaging somebody, from disrespecting, discrediting some kind of diss to somebody. And we as a society collectively, we need to divorce ourselves from the process of being entertained by it. Because I find, that's all we want to look at and view anymore is seeing somebody being torn down, see somebody being disrespected, see somebody getting, you know what I mean? And that's common. And to me, that's scary that we normalized it and desensitized ourselves from the process of humiliation. We've just accepted humiliation and disrespect of another individual as commonplace, and in some cases needed, and it's not.
You don't see it you don't see it in comic books, right? The writing and stuff.
Nah, you don't see it in the writing, nah,
at all, right? But this is the downfall of the human species. This is our cardinal sin, everything to ourselves and whatnot, right? We would rather humiliate someone to the point to where we knocked them off their pedestal. You gotta understand, Mike was a global icon, right? He was an icon. He couldn't go nowhere without people following him to be seen. I'm glad they showed that scene, everything where he got on top of the car and he gave the peace sign, everything, and people just everywhere. The whole entire street was just filled, right? But at the end of the day, like I say, we don't often look at the good things a person has done. We always look at the bad, and that has become normal. That's what it is. And the bad always outweigh the good. We can't get past that. And
when we say the Marine Corps, all it takes is one old shit to fuck up 1,000 attaboys.
Yep.
That part.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
Yep.
So true. So very true. So very true. I mean, and
when you can pour the blood and the crew together,
what do we do as individuals? What do we do as individuals to change that narrative?
Like I said, your actions, right? Your action speaks louder than words. Oftentimes, like I said, at the end of the day, I get told this often, right? And shout out to, I talked to Harold quite a bit, Harold Pete. And he said, brother, you're doing some good stuff out there. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And that's because I'm walking in my purpose. Like someone said earlier and everything, I'm walking in my purpose. And the way we get better within, this space, within comics, everything is, loving one another, uplifting one another, even through good and bad, no matter what. Like I say, at the end of the day, I can respect, but I don't want to disrespect. That's one thing that karma comes back around. And so at the end of the day, like I say, my goal is to respect. I can respect, your decisions and what you do in life and everything, right? That's your path. Might not be my path. That's your path. But there's nothing to say I can't agree with it or not agree with it. So at the end of the day, we have to walk in our purpose. That's what it boils down to. And do what's right for people. Do what's right for yourself and everything too at the same time. Like I said, at the end of the day, like I say, if I don't like a book, and there has been plenty of books and everything, I go to a comic book store and I buy them, and I see all these different errors and everything. And I say, hey, they got 3 editors on this book. How did this make it through edits? Well, I won't buy that book anymore. Now, would I bash that book in public? More than likely not, because that's not the professional way of doing things. Instead, we'll reach out to the publisher behind the scenes. We'll reach out to the editor or the writer and say, look, man, I noticed in this bubble right here, before, if I'm saying, I want to make sure that you're understanding what I'm saying, everything, right? And they'd be like, oh my, how did we miss that? It forced them to either do a reprint or retract all the books and stuff because there's an error, or live with it, the mistake, and own it, and let people know that, hey, I made a mistake here. That's what it's about. Did I go on social media everything to blast them on the error? No. I simply sent them a message and say, look, this is what I saw. I want you to give you a heads up just in case somebody try to call you and everything out, that you knew ahead of time. That's only going to make them better. I done had people reach out to me and say, hey, you have a misspelling here. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. And then guess what I got to do? I have to reprint all the books now with the new updated correction. That's on me. But I would never know if someone didn't tell me behind the scenes. But that person did the right thing by just reaching out to me directly and everything, right? They had a conversation. That's professional attack. That's where we have to get to in this lane. We have to be professionals, the utmost professional thing to be able to thrive within this space. Because again, at the end of the day, this is business, right? Some people are not doing this for a hobby. This is business. So we have to act like business people. That's the way we operate that way. So when I'm in a convention, everything, talking to customers and stuff, I'm not being rude. I'm not being rude at all. Because if I'm going to be rude to them and not show them the respect that they deserve and everything to be a consumer, more than likely, they're not going to buy the book. I'm not going to earn their dollar. They won't come back to me the next time around at the convention, everything, right? Because customer service goes a long way. And customer service is not just you handing over a book and receiving money. Customer service is, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. That's what we're going to get back to. If we stop talking to one another and having these conversations, everything, and going off, and this is everyone, right? Because like I said, if you, like you said earlier, you go to the comments. I went through many of the comments and all the stuff I see, I'm like, I don't even need to read this post because the comments and stuff is not fulfilling to the soul. It's a cancer to the soul. And it only tears you down even more, and it negates your creative spirit. It negates your creativity to where you don't feel like writing anymore. You don't feel like being in this space any longer. There have been times and stuff where the toxicity and everything of this space has gotten to the point to where I'm like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do any more Magnus because it's just too of a toxic space to be a part of and be in, to be able to accept and embrace. People can see stuff on your social media platform, right? On your feeds and stuff now. And imagine they seeing all of this stuff happening on your feed. I have to start deleting things, deleting people, because it becomes to the point to where I can't focus on running the business, or I don't want to be a part of it any longer because it's just so toxic. And that's not good for my soul. That's not good for my spirit. And I have plenty of stories I want to tell and share and everything, right? But to get to that point, to get to that place, it has to come from a place of positivity, love, care for one another, uplifting each other, no matter what. And even if you're doing wrong, I'm still gonna find a way to uplift you in a positive light in some capacity because there is good in you. I can tell, I can see it. You wouldn't be in this space trying to fight for people of color to have a voice, a seat at the table if there's no good in it. The struggle has been long, and the struggle is still here, and it's still persistent everything today. So at the end of the day,
apparently it's about to get worse as of Wednesday.
I might not be tracking. I've been so disconnected from the thing because I've been in the middle of writing so much stuff.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 got struck down by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about something else, but okay. Yeah, me and my dad talked about that. Me and my dad had
100 years. That's 100 years of toil and suffering. Just we don't need that. We don't need it.
Yeah, me and my dad had a conversation everything about that today, right? But this is what I tell folks. There's a people that marched way before we did. And continue to fight for what is right. There is a voice that's so powerful that this world cannot deny, that will be heard. And when they speak and everything in one unison, it's a very, very powerful voice. And it impacts the economy. It impacts society as a whole. It impacts the structure of this country. Black people have a very powerful voice. And what they do with it moves the economy, moves social systems, moves stories, everything. That fight will always continue. Way past us. The thing about it is, you keep moving forward. You keep moving forward. You keep moving forward. Just because someone said they're going to deny you, do you allow that to happen? Do you allow them to deny you?
Nope.
I don't think it's going to stop you from voting, right?
Nah, it ain't going to stop me from voting. Not me personally.
That's the thing, right? So this is me saying, if we have to go out there, foot soldiers and everything to educate the community still about what's happening, what's going on.
Always
that's
have.
That's the struggle we have to continue to do. Because your vote matters more than anything else. They can't take that away from you, regardless of the fact. If it requires me to get 10 IDs, there's no reason for me to make an excuse to go get 10 IDs for me to vote then. Because the day I make an excuse for everything, I give them the power to take away my vote.
Here, let me tell you this. Since we already know, you're Air Force, he's Marines, I'm Navy. So we all know a little bit of something about discipline. We all know a little something about staying the course. We all know a little something about seeing the mission through. So this is no different. This is what our training has prepared us for. We were born for a time such as this. I'm not saying doom and gloom, but hard times make hard people. And we right now, we are granted. You know what I mean? And there's never any doubt in my mind that I have been a foundation and a fixture for more than one generation. and I'm pretty sure he has. Well, I know he has, and I'm pretty sure you have too. So I guess, yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying. Solidarity, because we gonna need us in the next couple of years. We gonna need to teach us. We gonna need to guide us. We gonna need to support us.
No, we're gonna need it in a couple of years. We're gonna need it now.
Well, I'm saying for the next.
Yeah, that's gonna be happening. That needs to happen. Like even in my stories, right? I was telling Harold. He was like, I said, Harold, I want to put Spirit. I want to have her in Magnus's hand as he's getting his haircut by one of my classmates who's a barber in his barber shop. He was like, man, that's a great idea. I said, look, I'm uplifting you as an indie creator and everything, but also uplifting a Black-owned business at the same time too. And I'm not charging anything for it, right? That goes a long way. We can use our characters and everything in a moment of this time to educate the community on what's happening, even in the political space and everything, right? In a positive light. We see these things and stuff happen and everything, right? Yes, be disgusted about it, but what you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? You need to empower the people. Now, like I said, I'm not the one that I like to lead from the front, middle, and the rear. Oftentimes, I lead in the weeds, behind the scenes, quite a bit. I don't like being out in the forefront. But a lot of times I've been told I need to be more vocal, right? For a lot of these social issues and everything too at the same time. I see what's happening to us as a people. I see what's happening to us too as a society. I see what happened to us as a whole. The country has changed. The world has changed. The world see it. You know, I go overseas and everything. People used to embrace us quite a bit. Now they like, they run away from you. I'm like, what did I do? You know, that should never be the case and everything, right? We have to get back to the point to where it's going to take work from all of us to be able to get back to where we need to be at as a society. If not, you know, we're going to become the dinosaur, right? Extinct. That's what's going to happen. We're going to wipe ourselves out and everything in a way. But I believe in the human spirit. I believe in people. I believe in us. It's going to take all of us to make sure our kids, our grandkids, everything have a thriving world to live in, and we leave a legacy for them to love and nurture going forward to the future. This comic stuff, everything is my legacy. It's me sharing my stories, everything, my grandkids, my kids. I don't have to have a customer buy my book, right? You know what my customers, everything are? My children. I share my stories, everything, my daughters, my wife. I share my nieces, my nephews. They are my first customers and everything. I'm leaving a legacy for them to nurture, to enjoy, so they have something to look forward to and everything. So that way, if there's always negative in this world, there is something positive for them to fall back on. And it's these stories. That's what it's there for. And so at the end of the day, I say, you know, it's going to take us as a whole to walk that path. And my dad can't sit there and walk and march these long miles anymore. It's going to take our generation to do our part now. And a lot of this is a hard pill for us to swallow, because yes, I was prepared for it and motivated for it and everything, but we live in different times too, right? But we have to really sit down and think about those things too at the same time. We really do. That's nothing. It won't change until we do something about it.
Okay. Yeah, that much is true. Yes, we're gonna have to do something about it. But we at the 2-hour mark. Well, we passed the 2-hour mark, Brother Frederick. Yeah. Well, this is the time in the show where we kind of get to winding down. And Wise Acre Comics may it brain for as long as you needed to, and hopefully you do that thing where, you know, one book makes us get excited about another book, and then another book. You know what I'm saying? That feeling you had when you first was reading Marvels, or you was first reading DC, and oh, who is that? Oh, and that make you read that book, and then there's a team book, and another and another. That's what we want Wise Acre Comics to become, that standard. You know what I'm saying? So I wish that for everybody that got a company of comic books and it's full of people that look like that. I want y'all all to become household names, because quiet is kept. And I think Theo has said it before. We ain't the only people consuming this product. Some of them is consuming it too. So, I mean, we increase the awareness. I mean, ain't that how the big two became the big two?
Yeah. Definitely.
You got something to add, Theo, before we break up?
I just love the energy and everything like that. You know me, God give you 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth for a reason. So I want to sit up here and just soak it all in tonight and everything like that. And like I said, early on, it's definitely an original story. I like that. You got the Arisha up in there and everything like that. To Daryl's point, we get I'm not gonna say we get too way too much of the other stuff, but we don't get enough of us in godly form like that. So definitely look forward to that. You told us where to go get it from. So I'm just taking mental notes like, okay, go right here to the website, get right there, go holler at my comic book store and ask them, can they go ahead and order and everything. Okay, yeah, I'm good. That's what I needed. That's what I need. No.
Yeah, Magnus Jakuta, Wise Acre Comics, and this has been Mr. Frederick Littles, sir. We thank you for coming down here to our humble abode and sharing the vibe with us. And when you get some new stuff popping off, man, you are always welcome to bring it here. Hopefully first.
Awesome. I might be sending something your way, a preview tonight. Just give you a little taste.
Okay.
I know I said something about an action figure earlier. I said I did.
We didn't even get into that and everything. Yes, the action figure.
Yeah, before we go, hold up. I just want wait. Do you understand that we are action figure people? We are action figure people. We are action figure people. So when you say action figure to a cat like me or a cat like him, the first thing come to our mind is, where can we get it at?
Yes, we're going to launch a campaign and everything, hopefully very, very soon. We start off a 3.75-inch model. That was what this was going to go with. And if you know about action figures, everything, the mold cost is very expensive. But we got some feedback. We got some requests and everything. A lot of people asking us, can we go to 1/12 scale, 6 inches and everything?
That would be this right here. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. That's it. We fool around with more than a little bit of action figures, sir. Trust me. We can do a whole show on that. We can do a whole show on that.
I got a reaction from Theo, but I don't know if it's positive or negative. I don't know.
I'm just saying,
you know what you say. Go on and say.
Gets me a 6-inch and everything like that. And I'm gonna say it like this. Everybody got their own choices and everything like that. And I'm not knocking anybody's choice. But regardless of how you feel one way or the other, the world seems to be shifting toward everybody doing 6 inches. You see, I got my Georgia Bulldogs, my arm. I don't know if you're able to see them, but my football action figures.
Yeah.
It's 1/12 scale. Those aren't Marvel Legends. Those are not Marvel Legends. Mattel is getting ready to take over right now with the whole DC line. They're going to do 1/12 scale. In essence, you're able to have characters interact with one another. And that's the beauty, brilliance of it as a action figure collector. Like, I would love to have, watch this. I got Icon, but Icon is Todd McFarlane is 7 inches, right? Okay, well, I would love to have me a 1/12 scale Icon, Magnus Jakuta, Black Panther, Blue Marvel. You see where I'm going with this one?
Yeah.
And you could literally have, as an action figure collector, to me, imagery, representation is everything. That's greatness. That's greatness right there. It's like I got characters from everywhere. I got us creating the characters. I got us creating us. I got other folks creating us, and it's right here. I'm telling you, I've had kids come into my daughter, youngest 13, 14, everything. The kids' classmates walk into the office and they're like, I didn't know they had that many black superheroes. Of course, we had to customize some of them, more than enough of them, but they don't get to see themselves like that. It's impactful for them to see themselves like that. So, yeah, the 112 scale. Yeah.
118, 112. See the difference?
Yeah.
Hang on. 110. So 7 inches, 6 inches, 4 inches.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you're looking at. I feel like what he said, 112 is right there in the middle. You know what I mean? It's not too small that it's small, and it's not too big that it's big.
It's one of those things where you don't have to do, like if you're coming out with the action figure, because they're doing so much with 112 scale, from vehicles to diorama set pieces and everything like that, to accessories that go along with them, you don't have to do too much other than just drop the action figure.
Yep. That's the focus point. So we
ain't got to do nothing else.
Yeah, we finalized negotiation everything yesterday, matter of fact. And we're going to go into our molding next. And then once that happens, everything will be ready to go for our campaign lunch. And then the campaign lunch, everything is going to be pretty much be offered opportunity, everything to be able to get not just one, but 2 or maybe 3 action figures, depending on the campaign, everything is successful and how it goes or not. So it'd be both 2 male characters and 1 female character.
Come on, somebody.
Okay.
Come on, somebody.
All right. And make sure you use that mold that you use, make it look like Jinx look. You know what I'm saying? Where she busting all up out the outfit.
Yes.
Make sure it look like that. Don't give us no little scrawny, little skinny. Make her look just like she look in the comic, all extra thick. So
I stress to the team everything. I said, look, when it comes to the action figures, they have to be almost near a carbon copy of what you see in the comic books. So the team has been very, very good. Everything with the hair features and everything, especially for the Magnus and stuff like that. With his hair features and stuff, everything as well. The facial markers and everything also. Like Anik has the war paint and everything model. So that's potentially everything probably going to happen too at the same time. So like I said, we're going to make sure if all goes well, we'll be ready to go mass produce everything next year fully.
Okay. Right. God willing, we still hearing everything like that.
It's definitely going to be 2 people looking very closely.
Appreciate it.
I need that on the wall. I need that on the wall. The wall of fame. I need that.
If you go to Wise Acre Comics and you click on the little Kickstarter Zoop link and everything up there, it takes you to all of our Kickstarter campaigns that's coming up and everything. You'll see the Magnus Jakuta action figure champion series and everything on that page.
Champion series, the 112, right?
The champion series will be the 112.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be looking for that. We definitely be looking for
that. The actual Kickstarter page and everything was already updated for the 112 model.
Oh, got you then. we got you then. All right. Once again, see, we was gonna get off, man, but then you start talking about action figures. You can't talk about action figures. People.
I was not gonna let that slide.
Walk away.
No, sir.
Don't walk away from that. Once again, man, we appreciate you pulling up to the spot, man. The Rock With Me Nation appreciate you. Like I said, man, when you ready to come back, man, come on back. Theo, what you got going on this weekend, bro?
Well, Hunter returns to Wakanda. Y'all make sure y'all got y'all notifications on. I got the missus. Everything is lined up. She gonna be doing her voiceover part. I'm gonna be doing my voiceover part. Everything is good. So that's gonna be dropping tomorrow. Ultimates issue 5 or 6. We doing that. We got to drop that tomorrow. Tales of Suspense. We got that latest issue and everything like that with T'Challa and Black Panther. I'm gonna say T'Challa and Steve Rogers. We gonna make that do what we gonna do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, no, I'm lying. I'm lying. That ain't pretty much it. That's just me getting started. That's just me. That's because what you got going on this weekend, big bro?
I'm gonna be covering the Acolyte. I'm gonna do issue 4 of the Acolyte, and the Acolyte has got another character from Godhood crossing over Protocol.
Okay.
And I will say right now, I know absolutely nothing about Protocol because I have not bought a Protocol comic book and I ain't heard nothing about it. So I will be endeavoring to learn more about Protocol because he's a very cool looking character. I'm be doing action figure videos. I'm doing a action figure video on the 1985 universe. That is a action figure universe that I have created, and it consists of a lot of different characters. And we might do voice work. I might be able to pull the wife out this weekend to do some female voice work for me because she's kind of adept at doing that. And then Philadelphia. We're gonna keep going with Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes, Jason Alexander. We can do horror, we can do anything. You know what I mean? Once we set our mind to it, just like he said, he and Brother Rodney walking in his purpose right now. But this has been Friday Vibe, and I'm D Real. That's Theo B. That's been Frederick Littles. We appreciate y'all signing up. We out.